overwhelmed by their credit. It takes a lot of time and effort and work to see positive change. You might encounter unexpected challenges along the way, but with a little perseverance and some guidance, it's possible to take your credit from being to maybe something that's positive. My name is Carolyn Fleary, and I'm a realtor and a community guide. And I serve the amazing people in and around PG County. And today we're going to learn from our special guest some tips that will help us to improve our credit. So I want you to subscribe to this channel, follow our page, like this video, because you're going to learn a lot of great stuff from us. Our special guest is Brad Simons, and he is from Charm City Credit. He helps clients all throughout the DMV. Brad, how are you? Tell us a little bit about you and your company and how you got into credit.
I'm doing great, thank you. So pretty simple. My credit was really bad. I couldn't get approved for anything, a car, apartment, furniture, nothing. So I hired a company to help me. Didn't think it was possible. A little over 10 years ago, just as most of my clients are, I was very skeptical because I knew that my credit was bad because of my behavior. I mean, the things that I did, I knew the stuff on there was accurate. So how can you fix it for me? But they did, and I'm right now. Now it's about a 780 my credit, and just what a difference it makes to have good credit. I mean, it's just something. It's just I really thought I was going to have to live with bad credit forever. And it was just what a relief to be able to get a car at very low interest rate. Financing for anything just makes such a difference. I started helping others just the same way that I was helped. I started helping other people. I worked for a company for about 4.5 years. And then I started Charm City Credit Service a little over 5 years ago. And it's been great. Been helping a lot of people out. It's really about the relationships and just keeping the relationships going for forever. I mean, even our clients are out of our program for years and they still call and just ask for advice, what they should do in a certain situation. But there are a lot of areas that I've seen over the years that are pitfalls. One is co-signing. That's a big thing. A lot of my clients do. They co-sign for the kids, they co-sign for their boyfriend, their husband, whoever they co-sign for, and it just doesn't seem to work out.
And they do it with the best intentions. I get clients all the time that say, should I co-sign or should I take this person off? So why is that not a good thing?
Well, because now your credit is in the hands of someone else. And even though you're doing it out of love, like you said, out of love, out of good intentions, I mean, your child comes to you to need a car, and you're fortunate enough to have the credit to be able to get them the financing they need. So how do you say no to your child? But I just see it day in and day out. Your child doesn't make the payments. So now you're on the hook for your child's missed payments, and it really affects your credit. And people don't realize that the car does go on your credit. I mean, as a cosigner, that piece of it's just the same as if you were buying the car yourself. So when they miss a payment, and missed payments are huge, especially for a car, a mortgage, any type of large credit installment payments. If you miss a payment, it does really hurt you. I don't recommend co-signing for anybody for anything ever. Now, as far as authorized users, that's a strategy that we use to help people increase credit. And that's a different case. The authorized user does not need to get a credit card in order for it to help them with their credit. So that's a lot of, I always ask my clients, do you have a mother or father, somebody to add you on as an authorized user? They're like, no, they won't add me on. But then I try to explain. I mean, I've even talked to parents before and try to explain to them that, Joe doesn't need to get a credit card in order for your credit to help him. All you need to do is add him as an authorized user, and it'll show up on his credit, and you just decline him getting a credit card, and then you don't have to worry about him making any charges or anything. Just it's gonna help him. But same thing is you want to be careful about who you ask to be as an authorized user, because it can hurt you just as much as it can help you.
Right.
If the person whose card you're on has, doesn't pay their bills on time, or doesn't keep their balances where they're supposed to be, then it can really hurt.
So I might want to consider somebody who has good credit or ask if I can be an authorized user.
Absolutely. You want to have someone who has credit cards but doesn't use the credit cards to live, They use them strategically to improve their credits. As far as authorized users, you just want to be careful on who you ask.
What are some of the misconceptions about credit cards?
Where to keep balances? People think 30% is where you where you should keep your credit card balances. Now, most of our clients, well, just about all of our clients that come to us, they're in a hurry. They want their credit fixed yesterday. The way to get a quickest boost to your score is to keep your balances less than 10%. Let's just use a $500 credit card. You don't want any more than $50 on that credit card ever while you're trying to boost your scores. Now, the same thing, you also want to keep a small balance. You don't want to pay off your balance. You don't want the balance to be zero. You want to leave between like 1 and 10%, so between $5 and $50 on the credit card at all times. Because if it's a zero balance, the credit card company just thinks you have the card in the drawer, you've forgotten about it, and you're just not using it. So when they see you have a small balance on there and you're using it to buy gas, buy lunch, paying it off, that's what helps the best.
Okay. So if we want to make a large impact, it's good to keep between 1 and 10%, not the 30%, especially if you want to make a change to your credit fast. That's
correct.
What you're saying.
30% doesn't hurt you or help you.
Okay.
So 30% is a good rule of thumb for somebody who has good credit and doesn't really need their credit. If they keep their balances around 30%, their scores won't change. When they get closer, as you get closer to 40 and 50%, that's when their scores will start taking a dip. But for someone who's trying to get their scores up quick, 30% is not where you want to be. And you do not want to charge up your credit cards and pay them off the next month. That's the last thing you want to do. I hear that all the time. Well, I've charged it up, but I paid it right off. Well, the credit bureau doesn't know your intentions. So when they take a picture of your credit and they see your credit card at 90% utilized, they don't know that you plan on paying it off in a couple of weeks. All they know is where it is now. So I just tell my clients just to leave their balances less than 10%. A lot of times we get them credit cards. Most of our clients don't have credit when they come to us. So it's really important to have credit in order to have a high credit score. People don't realize you really need to have credit. I mean, I've seen people get declined for loans with 700 plus credit scores because they don't have any credit. They really don't have a solid profile. So you need to have credit cards. I mean, I hear it all the time. I don't want credit cards, but you have to have them, and you have to use them strategically to manipulate your scores.
Well, let's get right into that too. I have a lot of people that ask me, how do I build credit? So where should somebody with no credit or not enough credit, what should they start to do to improve their score?
Well, the first thing would be to try for a secure credit card. Now, what a secure credit card is, a lot of people don't know. It's you put the money up. So if it's a $300 credit card, your bank will take $300 from your account. You'll get a credit card that now has a $300 limit. And it's the same as a regular credit card. You use it and it will increase your scores, and you will get that $300 back within about 6 to 8 months after using the card, and your limit will go up, and then you're off to the races. And also an authorized user, as we already discussed. If you have any family, any friends, somebody that'll put you on their card, again, who has good credit, who's responsible with the credit card, that's a really good way to start building up credit as well. And I advise my clients, if they have teenagers, I think you have to be 15 years old at least to be added as an authorized user. Yeah. If they have kids who are at least 15 years old, I tell them, put them on your credit card. Because a lot of, 18, 20, 25, they don't have any credit, so they really don't have any scores. So it's a really good idea to start building up their credit profile as soon as possible.
That's good advice for parents, definitely. So start to add the kids as authorized users on your credit cards that are good, and that make sure you have a good credit score. You don't want to mess up the kids either. So making sure if you add them as an authorized user to cards that are in good standing, and if you have a good profile overall, so that by the time that they reach, you said 18, 19, 20, they could have already established their own credit profile or credit score.
Exactly. And it's really important because then at 18, 19, 20 years old, they're thinking about their credit. Most 18-year-olds, I know I wasn't, are thinking about their, they're not thinking about it, but now they know, oh, my mom, my dad put me on there, and now I'm building credit. So when I get this credit card in the mail that says, they think it's just free money, they're going to think twice about it because they know how important their credit is. They've already, because I didn't learn anything about credit in high school. I don't know anybody that did. It's just so important, and I just don't know why it's not something that's discussed at a much early age, because credit's, it's everything.
It is everything. And hopefully, these type of conversations will be exposed to many more people so they can start to learn just a little bit about finances and how credit and credit cards fit into that picture. I do have a couple of questions that were sent to me beforehand, and maybe you can help me out. What is a credit report and how can I get a copy of mine?
A report of your credit, of what you finance, any kind of credit you've gotten in your name. It'll have you have your credit scores. Now, a lot of times credit scores don't register. They come up as NA because, again, people just don't have enough credit to register a score. You can get a free credit report once a year from annualcreditreport.com. They don't give you any scores. They just give you your credit report.
History, but that's a good place to start, is to just know what's on there.
Okay. Yes. Now, I have a credit monitoring service. All of our clients do. They're required to maintain a credit monitoring service while they work with us, because that's how we track the progress each month without affecting their scores, because we want it to be a soft pull when we pull the reports frequently. So the credit monitoring service serves that purpose.
And it's good to have a credit monitoring service so that if there's anything that happens that's unexpected, you're alerted right away. If somebody were to open up credit fraudulently in your name, you may get an indicator of that through the credit monitoring service.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you hadn't identified it before.
Okay. If someone tries to pull your credit, yeah, absolutely, you'll be alerted. Also, the monitoring service that I use, I mean, it's only $15 a month, and it gives you $1 million worth of fraud protection. So if you are a victim of identity theft, you get up to $1 million in attorney's fees and whatever you need to do to get it right, which is also a really, really good thing.
The next question is there any advice that you can give to someone when they're deciding what type of credit card to choose?
That's a good question, but most of our clients aren't in the position to be choosy. It's they should just take what they can get. The path that I took was Capital One. I mean, that was the initial credit card that I took. I got it was a secure credit card, and then again, just as I said, I graduated to a higher limit. I got that money back, and then I started as my credit got better. I really recommend the cards that give you cash back. Discover is really good, and I know in their first year, Discover cards pay you back dollar for dollar. Yeah, so my first Discover card, I got a nice little chunk back at the end of the year. It was really nice. But for anyone who has good credit and is in the position to take advantage of what your credit offers, because I mean, it really is a benefit to have good credit and get paid back. It's great. Back. It's great. I mean, my Capital One card, I have a Saver card. It gives me 4% wherever I eat. So wherever I go, I use my Saver card and I get 4% back. I mean, that's a nice little chunk.
That's a perk.
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
How does bankruptcy affect my credit, and how long will it stay on my credit report?
It'll stay on there for 7 to 10 years, unless you hire a company to get rid of it. We've gotten bankruptcies off for many clients. 7 to 10 years, and it'll tie your credit up for at least 2 years.
Okay.
You won't be able to buy a house for at least 2 years. But it is an alternative that's just the best way out for a lot of people. We don't take on every client. It's a lot of times clients come to us and they're just too far gone, to be honest with you, for help right now.
Wow.
So we suggest them just to get a fresh, clean slate, get relieved of all the debt, start over, make better choices, and then come to us and we help people clean up their credit after the bankruptcy, because bankruptcy doesn't clean up your credit. It just relieves you of the debt.
Right.
People don't understand. They think they go through bankruptcy and all of a sudden they have excellent credit. That's not the case. You just don't owe what you used to owe, and now you can really work on building up and fixing your credit.
Right. Well, just to recap, tips to improve your credit. And the first thing that we talked about was co-signing. It's suggested that you don't co-sign at all if you can. And if you are co-signing with someone, to remove yourself, and that may be able to help you improve your credit. Next topics, becoming an authorized user on someone's card, getting a secured card that you can start off with, creating good habits by using it, and eventually maybe getting an increase in the credit line. About credit cards, about using less than 30%, especially if you wanted to make a big impact. You want to use less than 10% if you want to see your scores go up quickly. So if you all out there have any more questions about credit, be sure to send a message, where can they find you?
It's Charm City Credit Service. You can check us out online on Facebook. We have some excellent reviews on the Better Business Bureau and Google. We are one of the only companies in the state that is licensed with the Better Business Bureau.
In the description, I'm going to include all of Brad's information. I've had a lot of my clients work with him as well to kind of get through the process. As I mentioned earlier, it's not something that's short. It takes time. If you've had some really bad habits, then following the process and the methodology and putting the plan in place will help you to see the finish line. Thank you for joining us, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.
That was a lot